it gonna be? Ant-Man.
Yours truly, Brevin Thompson, is back, this time to talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which was directed by Peyton, who also directed the first two films before this. So after the events of Avengers Endgame, Scott Lang has published a book about his heroics as Ant-Man, and has continued his relationship with Hope Van Dyne, played again by Evangeline Lilly. Scott's teenage daughter, Cassie, played by Kathryn Newton, has developed a device that will allow them to communicate with individuals that could possibly be in the quantum realm. But of course, things go haywire, so Scott, Hope, Cassie, as well as Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne are pulled into the quantum realm, so they must find a way out while also dealing with Kang the Conqueror, played by Jonathan Majors. I enjoyed the Ant-Man films for the most part. I mean, I wouldn't go so far as to say that they're some of my favorite films in the MCU. They're enjoyable, and I can be entertained by them. So, I went into this film with minimum expectations, because the MCU, as of late, after Phase 4, has not really been looking really good in my eyes. Although Spider-Man No Way Home, as well as Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and Shang-Chi and Black Panther Wakanda Forever, I thought that those were pretty good films. But when it comes to Quantumania, however, I would say it's okay, really. In regards to MCU films, this, right next to Eternals, has the lowest Rotten Tomatoes score. So, that's, before checking out the film, I was a little bit worried, but I don't think it's as bad as a lot of critics are saying that it is. I will admit it does have its problems, but I want to talk about my positives first before I go into my issues with the film. I like most of the acting for the most part when it comes to Paul Rudd, Kathryn Newton, Evangeline Lilly, Michael Douglas, and Michelle Pfeiffer. But the best performance, in my opinion, was Jonathan Majors as Kang the Conqueror. And I will admit, he might have been my favorite part of the movie. He has this captivating level in terms of his performance. He's well-spoken, and he's very menacing in certain scenes. And I like that they do a pretty good job of building him up as the next big bad for the MCU after Thanos. In terms of the visuals, visually the film looks pretty amazing, as like most MCU movies are, and it looked pretty good in 3D. And I do recommend checking this out in 3D, because I will admit it does look good in 3D. And normally I don't like to check out movies in 3D that much, but I checked it out in 3D anyways. And this is like one of those few MCU movies that like warrants like a 3D experience, in my personal opinion. The action sequences are okay for the most part, but the big finale at the end, I did think was probably the best action sequence in the film, in my personal opinion. As for my issues with the film, although I did mention that a large chunk of the visual effects look pretty good for the most part, there's just one certain character, and it's MODOK. And without giving too much away, I don't want to spoil too much in case you all want to check it out for yourselves. I am not the biggest fan of this character. Now hear me out. I know there are fans of this character, but this character just looks just a little bit silly, in my personal opinion. Because I get that he's supposed to be a popular villain in the Marvel Universe, but when he has this like metal like thing like covering his face, he looks. That's when I can buy him as like a legitimate threat. But when he removes that and reveals his giant head, that effect, it just looks so bad. I cannot help but laugh my ass off every time I saw that face. I was just, oh my god. And it kind of reminded me of Mr. Electric from Adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Does anybody remember that? Because I certainly do. And good God, that movie doesn't. Oh my God. Oh my God. Just no, 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 no. The movie also has issues with its tone, because the first two films, they were very much lighthearted entries into the MCU, and this one kind of is, but it has like, this is much more darker compared to the first two films. So you have like some lighthearted moments mixed in with some darker, serious moments, and especially when it comes to Kang. Although I did mention that he was my favorite part of the film, I would say when it comes to its tone, it's kind of a mixed bag in my personal opinion. I not that I'm against this direction that they were taking for the film. It just didn't work for me really. Overall, I did enjoy this film for the most part, and I would say I enjoyed this a lot more compared to Eternals, because even though both this and Eternals had the lowest Rotten Tomato score, but one thing that makes this better than Eternals, I wasn't bored. That's the best thing I can say, is that I wasn't bored with this film as I was with Eternals. So that's high praise in my personal opinion. So yeah, it has its moments, it has a few problems, but I enjoyed it for the most part. So I'm gonna give Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania a B. So what did you think of the film? Let me know in the comments below. And guys, thank you so much as always for watching. Looking forward to doing more videos really soon. And if you want my thoughts on old or new films, of course, you know where to find me.